So Robin, Gotham as a show as a whole, I think it's surprised a lot of people because it's one of those that allows you to get into something because of the length of it. Mm-hmm. Is that something that you knew you were going into, that you're going to have such a character development over the course of a long series like that?
Well, it was something that we all hoped for. I mean, you want to be able to really sink your teeth into a character and really be able to explore like every possible aspect, every possible feeling, every emotion that this character could have. That's the challenge of an actor. And then to be given this much time to really develop and really get into the psychology of Oswald Cobblepot in my circumstance, it's been an amazing dream. I mean, I'm one of those people where it wasn't a very easy road for me getting to this point, just in the sense that, work would come in and out. And then, being on something when this show happened, I tend to be very superstitious. So I never really wanted to think about, oh goodness, I'm going to have so much time with this character. I just was looking, day by day, moment by moment. And then to see it all, being successful and to see people really embracing it has just been incredibly validating and incredibly exciting. So it's been quite the ride.
Was there an apprehension on your part taking on such an iconic character then?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, but the interesting thing is that when we auditioned, we didn't know what we were auditioning for. Like we had a fake scene. We weren't given the script, and so it was this very like sort of, in a way, it was a pure kind of experience because it was really up to Danny Cannon and Bruno Heller to decide, which actors they wanted to embody these characters. Of course, when I find out that it's the Penguin, that changes things a little bit. I mean, I look to, having grown up watching Burgess Meredith and Danny DeVito, I mean, these are some very big, small shoes to fill. So, so it is daunting, but at the same time, with our show, we are showing aspects of these characters that people have never seen before. So there's freedom there, and we all really appreciate that aspect of our show.
When you initially did that fake scene, then were there any characteristics that you've carried through now that you particularly picked out and thought this is the essence of the man?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there was this scene where and I may be misremembering, this was a while ago, but from what I recall, it was a scene between a character named Paul, I believe, and some mafia don, like a head of a mafia family, and Paul is trying to get the mafia family to help him, achieve some sort of goal. Of course, the mafia guy is not into it at all. But then halfway through, it's revealed that Paul has the mafia don's daughter captive, and she will be murdered if he doesn't follow her. So it was very indicative of how far ahead Penguin is always looking, how he always has to be several steps ahead. He has to anticipate everybody's move. And so, as you know, and as we've seen throughout the last 2 seasons, this is definitely a characteristic of Penguin that is incredibly important and is almost like, if he had a superpower, that's what it would be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting you mentioned that, the superpower element, because it is very real in terms of what he does and how he does it. Mm-hmm. How do you portray that on screen in a big comic book movie? Do you, in a comic book show, I should say, do you pick out certain elements to focus on, or do you try and bring the character out as a whole?
Oh man, I would say I would probably say just bring the character out as a whole, but really I give all credit to Bruno Heller, Danny Cannon, John Stevens, and the rest of our fabulous writers. It starts with them. It's their interpretation of this character. It starts there on the page. I come in, and then I have a physical transformation as well, where, with the makeup and the design and all of this, and then, of course, our beautiful sets and locations, I feel like once all of that comes together, I'm stepping into the skin of the character, and it feels very natural and organic, which is an experience that I really haven't had very often in my career. So it's just been incredibly eye-opening and incredibly fulfilling.
We're heading into the end of season 2 here.
Yes.
So how do we leave Oswald at the end of that? And do we set him up in a place where season 3 can take off for him?
Definitely. Well, he was probably at the lowest he's ever been, near the end of the 2nd season, with the death of not just his mother earlier in the season, but also the death of his father. And then also on top of it, being brainwashed and then coming back into his own. This is an incredibly traumatic experience for him. But I think now, because of all of that, he has learned so much, having gone from King of Gotham to, basically scum of the earth. And then now, having inherited his father's fortune, I think there is going to be even more ruthlessness. He's been allowed the opportunity opportunity to be the monster that everyone always saw him as. And so I think going forward, it's just going to be, you know, as they say in the States, balls to the wall. So, yeah.
Excellent. And finally, one last question. That idea of King of Gotham, is that what drives him? And is that what drives a lot of the characters in this show, the King or Queen of Gotham, as it may be?
I can't speak for the other characters so much, but in Oswald's case, absolutely. Because, again, this is a damaged person. This is someone who is a victim of extreme of torture, in a way, emotional torture, physical torture, his entire life. He, as a bullied child, in our story, he is a first-generation immigrant. He's always been an outsider, and he's always been abused. And so, in order for him to feel safe, in order for him to not feel vulnerable anymore, he has to be the one in charge. That's the only way he's going to feel safe, and he will be able to sleep at night. So, of course, it's not just a career goal. It's an act of self-preservation, and it's a defense mechanism. So, you know, going forward, he needs that in order to survive.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Robin.
It was such a pleasure.
Thank
Likewise.
you. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!